Hey there, my fellow producers and consumers of topics. In this Warp solution, we're going to connect up WarpStream with Decodable. Fortunately, WarpStream has got you covered with a walkthrough in the docs that we are going to cover in this video. You can see it here on the screen. You'll need to have both a WarpStream and Decodable account, and links for all of this will be in the description. In case you're new here, WarpStream is an Apache Kafka-compatible data streaming platform built directly on top of Object Store. And Decodable is a stream processing platform that is powered by Apache Flink and Debezium. With that, let's jump in. We'll assume you already have WarpStream installed, but if you don't, it's right here in our docs. It's this simple one-line command. Let me note we're going to be switching between a terminal window, WarpStream, and Decodable. As we do this, we need to start in WarpStream to create a serverless cluster. This is the simplest way to have a public cluster that Decodable can connect to. So with that, let's jump into it. In WarpStream and our dashboard, we're going to create a cluster. We'll call it Decodable DevRel. We're going to select serverless for this, and we'll take the region US East 1 and create. Now, I'm copying all these steps from the documentation, so you'll just do the exact same thing. Once here, we go over to the Connect tab. Our cluster is running. We're going to want to create a credential. As you can see, we've got the install command up here and a bunch of really cool shortcut stuff on this tab. So let's create a credential. We'll call this Decodable. We'll create it. Now this is going to generate some things we want to save. We're going to need this export command for the environment variables in the terminal, and we're going to need the username and password. So I've saved those. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to switch to the terminal. We'll export those environment variables, and we're good to go there. Now, next, we want to create a topic called Decodable Demo. We have that in the documentation, so we'll come back, we'll paste that in, and we see we've got 6 records. So if we go back in the console here, we can look at topics for this cluster, and there we go. Decodable Demo. We'll open up the details. We see right here, we put those 6 records in. We're going to put in some more in a little while, and we'll see that happen as well. So now we're going to go over to Decodable. And here we want to connect to a source. So we just take that off the dashboard. We are going to select Kafka. And here we've got a source. Our Bootstrap server is serverless.aws.us east 1.warpstream.com 1992. Our topic, we'll call this Decodable Demo to match up with the documentation. This is a SASL SSL connection. The mechanism is plain. Username. Now this is where we generated that back in the WarpStream console. So I saved that. Let me paste that in and put that there. The password, that's going to go into a secret. We could have set that up ahead of time, but not a whole lot of point for this. So let's call this DW2 and Decodable with WarpStream test. So that's our secret, and then we're going to give it the password as the value. We'll pop that in. Now next, we have, we've got our thing here, our key, value format, all of these, scan startup mode. We want that as early as offset to take it from the beginning, and next. So now we want to create a new stream, so select that, called Decodable Demo. Doesn't need a description. Now, when we created this, you see we've got these fields, user ID, action, and page ID. So that we're going to set up that schema in here. User ID is a string. Add a new field. Action is a string and a new field. Page ID is a string. All right. Now we want to name this connection. We'll call it WarpStream. Now we want to start it. You see up here? Hit start. We'll take these defaults. And once this changes from starting to running, these output metrics should update, or they will update actually. There we go. We're running now, and we see some output metrics. Here is our 6 records. So now we want to navigate over to streams. We see our decodable demo. So let's open that up. We see our 6 records in there. Next, we want to create a pipeline. So let's select a pipeline. Create a SQL pipeline. We're going to go against decodable demo. Now we're going to add one little bit to this SQL statement because we want to filter user ID where user 0 is the value. Let's go ahead and run a preview of that. Let's check, make sure we are doing earliest. Run. Okay, we see our 3 records that are user 0, so we're going to move on. We're going to create a stream now. Gives us a name already. Here's our fields. Click next. Now we want to name our pipeline. We're going to call this user 0. Create that pipeline. And we're going to copy some more records into our pipe. So we grab that out of the docs. Switch over to our terminal. Let's pop those in. There we go. Switch back and let's start our pipeline. We want earliest start position and fire it up. After a few moments, we're going to see the input and output metrics update, confirming that the pipeline is working as expected. In the meantime, let's take a look back here in our WarpStream console, and we see the additional 6 records that we just wrote in. There we go. We see our 12 records here, and that's our input, and on the output, we've got 5 because that's the filter. So we're all done. We've set up a stream processing pipeline between WarpStream and Decodable and created a simple pipeline that filters out data from a fire hose of events. It's that simple. Try it yourself at warpstream.com.